I've been talking to my nieces, to his grandchildren, and pointing out to them that I think when you look at the political history of New Mexico in the 20th century, that Bruce King has got to be one of the major players, both because of his legislative career, because of his career and the work that he did as the president of the Constitutional Convention, and the work that he did as governor, because a lot of the shape of the laws in New Mexico, both for him as a lawmaker and as governor, have his hand on them from 1958 until 1998, essentially. I mean, or 94, when his last year in the governor's office. I think, I hope that a lot of young people will have wanted to follow his lead, and I think I'll find this out as we go forward. But I find this, since my mother passed away in this last year, I run across so many people who say, I patterned myself after your mother. She was a mentor to me. It's why I decided to work with children or do something like that. I certainly hope that we will find, as part of his legacy, that a lot of young people will say, and maybe this will even get them interested in, we were interested in your father's career, in what was important to him, as far as helping children, and helping people, and we want to follow that path, and we want to do that. So I believe that he was so well known and so well loved that a lot of people will hopefully want to follow his example and do the kinds of things that he did.
What would he think about President Bill Clinton coming to his funeral?
He'd be tickled. I think he and President Clinton were good friends. They fought a lot of political battles together. I think that the Clintons have certainly said that they developed a lot of their, as a matter of fact, just what I was talking about, a lot of their campaign style, a lot of their philosophy of how policy ought to be approached from watching my father and my mother, and I think my dad was in his second term as governor when Bill Clinton was elected to his first term, and they spent a lot of time together at the National Governors Association meetings talking about policy and such. And so we're very touched that President Clinton wants to come, and I do believe he'll be here. I actually understand that at that level that there could still be things that will come up or something, but
do you anticipate that he's going to speak at the funeral?
It's an interesting question, because one of my father's wishes was that he have both, as we did with my mother's ceremony, that he have a simple ceremony that didn't have a lot of speeches and a lot of eulogies and all those kinds of things. And so we have up until yesterday anticipated that Pastor Lee would be the only person speaking at the ceremony. But since we know that President Clinton is coming, I think that we will probably ask him if he wants to say a few words.
Are you going to be staying out at the King Ranch?
No, I don't think so. I actually don't. His schedule is a pretty busy one, so I don't have any information on either end of his schedule. So.
How are you doing, both with your neck and in grieving?
I'm doing good. Like I said, he sort of taught me to be philosophical about this. I think that those of us who grew up on farms and ranches are more comfortable with life and death, because you see a lot of it, I think, growing up on a ranch, and we know that it's part of the natural cycle of life, and so having said that, in theory, it's easy to say that. In actuality, we miss them sorely. Whenever I, have any political issue, if things are tough in the office, I always would call him up and ask him for his advice, and so I'm going to miss his advice. But I think that he gave each of us in the family sort of I want to say a mission in life. I mean, it's more than just a mission. I mean, he gave us a philosophy, a family philosophy of public service. And so I suppose that one of the things that strikes me is that I have to pick up the slack I think that, that there are still a lot of things that need to be done for children in New Mexico. I think that there are a lot of things that need to be done, to make New Mexico the place that he thought it should be. And I suspect that I will give some speeches as we go through that encourage a lot of other people to adopt that philosophy of focusing on what's the best for the people of the state of New Mexico, and let's get together and let's get that done.